You want to talk about Beauty and the Beast? I've got Broadway Joe Thistle to my right. I don't need to exactly say what he's representing. We've got Carrlyn Bathe here joining us. Thanks for stopping by, Carrlyn.
No problem.
Of course, you do some great work for LAKings.com, in-arena host at the Kings games as well.
Absolutely.
How much fun has it been from your perspective to see what's transpired here the last couple of years with the Kings and most recently with their second Stanley Cup in 24 months?
Oh, my goodness. Well, let me start by this. I joined the Kings in 2008. So I saw them go through some troubles, and then I saw them go through some triumphs. And the past two cups that we just won in 3 seasons has been the ride of a lifetime. To see what this team can do is absolutely incredible. They're superhuman. I'm not even just pretending here. They are literally superhuman boys. They are so resilient. To see them come back again and again, these playoffs especially, was just, oh my goodness.
Yeah, they seem like a real team, like they're one for all and all for one, and they're galvanized with each other's company.
Absolutely. They never rely on just one person. It's a total team effort every single game, every single time, one shift at a time. You know, they don't just throw one person out there and make the whole game, you know, all about them and how they can score. It's literally every single person is a moving piece in that puzzle.
Carrlyn, we've been talking about hockey in California, hockey on the West Coast, and how far it's come. And the Ducks won the Cup in 2007. The Kings now have 2 championships. San Jose, to their credit, have been a good team here for the past decade or so as well and have made some playoff runs themselves. How much fun for you has it been to see the fans kind of get involved in it, too? Because I look back on 2012, and back in 2012, it was a bit of a new thing.
Absolutely.
I know the Kings made it in 1993 to the Cup final before losing out in 5 games to Montreal, but the expectation level was different in 2014. It's almost like the Kings fan base had a greater expectation that they would go on to win and could win another championship as compared to 2012 when they just weren't sure that they could reach that top of the mountain.
You're absolutely right. I think now more than ever hockey is thriving in Southern California, and Orange County and Los Angeles are in such close proximity with each other. So a lot of the kids that are growing up playing hockey nowadays are supporters of both teams even. And like you said, the San Jose Sharks are just so good right now. They don't even have to have won a cup to be making hockey more and more prominent in California. I think, you know, we did have a cup run in 93, but with LA Kings having a new training facility at Toyota Sports Center in El Segundo, they have this new, it's not essentially new now, but it's newer than it was then, and they've got a place to play, a place to practice. They've got 3 different ice surfaces there that teams are coming in and out. Youth are growing up around that rink, seeing the players, seeing the alumni. It's really such a beautiful thing that's just been cultivating and just growing into a monster, and I love it.
From a personal standpoint, tell me how you made it out to Los Angeles and got to do what you're doing these days, because, I mean, a lot of hockey fans are going to remember your dad, Frank Bathe, played with the Philadelphia Flyers back in the day. I certainly remember. I got a few of his hockey cards back in the day.
He was a tough son of a gun.
Oh, he was. Well, it was a tough team. Anybody who put on the Philadelphia Flyers orange and white back then, and black, of course, had to be a tough-type hockey player to make it and to be successful. But tell me about your journey and your adventure in coming out here to work for the Kings here.
Well, my dad has scared off every boyfriend I've ever had. Anybody that steps into my house, you know, knows his background, knows how he is. My brother went on to be a beast himself. He made it to the AHL and was just a fighter, just exactly like my dad. I came out here when I was 19. I had an interest in journalism and sports broadcasting, and I started working for the Kings shortly after I moved here. And, you know, they've really taken me on a journey, and that organization has been so incredible to work for because they watched me grow up, essentially, from a teenager to a young adult, and they really take what you want to do, what kind of dreams you have, and they can help you with that. And so the Kings, without them, I don't even think I'd be where I am right now.
Well, clearly you did not see your dad play,
Nope.
But now you've got YouTube.
Yep.
I mean, how often have you gone to YouTube and typed in Frank Bathe and then all of a sudden came across highlights or fights or what have you with your dad?
I had no idea until, you know, the internet's been becoming a bigger and bigger thing nowadays, especially with social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, everything. Somebody showed me his fight videos. I had no clue. And to see him, I didn't see my dad punch somebody in the face until I was 16, 17 years old, and it's insane. Let me tell you that.
Yeah.
He wouldn't hurt a fly now. Not even wouldn't swat at a fly. And to see him just go all out, bench clearing brawls in the 70s and 80s, it's incredible that it's been captured and can be shared and shared over and over again.
Well, and dealing with all these players over the years, Joe, that's one thing that stood out to me, too. We always talk about the tough guys in the National Hockey League and how they're always the smartest guys and the nicest guys off the ice.
Yeah, they can't be. Well, we had Rob Ray here earlier today. He's a super guy off the ice. But we've had occasion to have Paul Laus into the studio, who's one of the tough guys from this era. Wonderful guy. I mean, they have a job to do as well, and it's not a pleasant job that these guys have to. I mean, we talked to Dave Schultz and those guys over the years, and it's a tough job when you get when you know you've got to go into a city, and your role is to be that protector. And there's a guy on the other end of the ice that's got the exact same role, and you know you're going to probably scrap with this guy, and it's a scary business. And back in your dad's age era, it was some tough guys out there.
Absolutely.
And so it's a thankless job in a lot of ways. And you know, when people are searching Frank Bathe, they're certainly not looking for goals.
Right.
You know, if they remember him as a hockey player, remember him as a fighter, and that's what they're looking for. You know? And what's he doing now for hockey fans?
He's got 4 grandkids. He's living in Maine. He owns a gas station. He's got a booming business. Hanging out with my mom. They live right by the beach. He golfs all the time. He's living the life, let me tell you. He's living the life of a retired professional hockey player. And like you said about, they kind of got to have a good personality to be that kind of tough guy.
Right.
And he's taught me everything I know about being nice to people, stepping out of my box, and being, you know, an energetic, outgoing person, because that's kind of who he had to be. He's got to fight these guys on the ice, but then go have a beer with them when they're done, you know? That's
Rob was saying the exact same thing. Rob Razor was just here about an hour and a half ago, and he was saying the exact same thing. You know, bygones are bygones, you know?
LAKings.com. Tell us about it, too, because it is one of the top websites out there. I don't say that to everybody, but, you know, the work that you do, Daryl Evans is a great guy. I mean, Daryl does everything. He's a jack of all trades. Daryl's been a great ambassador for the Los Angeles Kings, not only as a player and now as a broadcaster, but with all the work that he does for LAKings.com. Tell me about it in terms of the website and different aspects, of course, that you guys try to cover of these players' lives.
Absolutely. I would call Daryl a mentor of mine. He's really been like a second father figure to me out here in Los Angeles. He's incredible at what he does. We've got everything on the website, from practice reports to special fun features, which is more of the stuff that I like to shoot. We go to, you know, local charity events, golf tournaments, kids hockey, all kinds of stuff like that. We just did a beard shave off the other day at Floyd's Barber Shop in Los Angeles. And we just kind of filmed Trevor Lewis and Jake Muzzin getting all cleaned up after their cup run. So just fun stuff like that. And then we've got some really great writers, too, that write for LAKings.com. We have John Rosen, the LA Kings Insider, which is such a huge, huge thing for our website. He's got so much insight to this team, and the things that he posts are really, really relevant and really, really juicy with great information. He's so good.
And what are you doing here? Because you were in EA Sports?
Yep, I'm here in the 4th period gifting suite. That's where we all are here today. And I'm with EA Sports and Violent Gentlemen. And Violent Gentlemen is a clothing company that is actually co-owned by George Peros. So they started it when he was still in Orange County with the Ducks, and then these boys have continued it. And it's really just a hockey-based clothing company made with team colors, and just kind of Violent Gentlemen says it all. It's for the tough guys.
Well, another example, too, of a guy who's a very smart guy, a very nice guy, George Peros.
Absolutely.
He's a Princeton grad. And, of course, he's got everything in order in terms of life after hockey. Not that he's completely done now, but he's certainly, knowing his intelligence level, is looking at life after hockey. It's amazing, some of these players, too, in terms of what they've got going on off the ice. Because players these days, I think, too, Carrlyn and Joe, have to have one eye on the present and one eye on the future. We've seen it time and time again how these guys don't realize that the career is relatively short.
Absolutely.
And you've got to have something in terms of life after hockey to fall back on.
Hockey, I would consider it an investment. You absolutely have to think about life after hockey. My dad, very good businessman, was very fortunate to have thought about it, fresh out of the league, put his money that he made to good use, and now has a business that my family runs. I think a lot of guys nowadays are younger, growing up, maybe make a lot of money, sit on it, and then aren't sure what they want to do. But it's nice to see guys like George and even Kevin Westgarth, who went to college, really get an education, know that there's life after hockey. They have the education to fall back on, and basically the world is there for them.
Does your dad still have an affiliation with the Flyers? Does he still keep in touch with alumni and the organization? And Ed Snyder's always been a huge supporter of guys who've played one game for Philadelphia or 10 seasons for the Flyers.
He still has friends all over the place. Terry Murray, who was actually coaching in Los Angeles when I joined the team, best man at his wedding. Our neighbor in Maine, he's the greatest, friend of my dad's. And then we've got Steve Coates. He still keeps in touch with Coatesy. He's got tons of stories about that guy. So I think when you get older and guys kind of spread out around the league, that's how you stay connected. It's not so much to the Flyers organization exactly, but to the people that were involved when he was on the team. He's still very good friends with those people. And then he's, more involved with the hockey scene in Maine now, I would say. Even though the Mariners aren't there, we still have the Portland Pirates, and then his grandsons are playing.
Is that how it started for your dad, as far as living in Maine and that sort of thing, going back to the Mariners days?
Absolutely. He met my mother in Maine. She's a maniac. She was born there, raised there. That's what we call him. And fell in love when he was playing for the Mariners, and then that's where he ended up retiring and staying there. So it's a very picturesque state. I don't know if you guys have been there, but they call it vacation land for a reason. It's beautiful, and I miss it every day, but I love Los Angeles as well.
Well, Carrlyn was saying she spent a lot of time up in the Ontario area, Balsam Lake and Oshawa and all that.
Really? Balsam Lake?
Yeah.
Yep. I'm a dual citizen. That's where my dad's from. He's from Oshawa. So we used to go to Canada every summer.
I live in Ajax, just down the road, actually, 15 minutes away.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I actually, funny story, I didn't know this about my dad. I knew he was a great hockey player. We went out to the lake one time, and, we were going to go water skiing, and he put one ski on, all of a sudden drops the ski. And apparently Frank Bathe is a great barefoot water skier.
Wow.
I had no idea. The more you know. So.
You should have YouTubed it.
I know, right? It'd be going viral right now.
Excellent. Carrlyn, thanks for stopping by.
Thank
Keep
you
up the good
very
work.
much. Thank you so much for having me.